All right, today we're going to talk about something that's, well, it's a huge leap for AI. We're unpacking Google's Gemini 1.5. And this thing doesn't just take a small step forward, it feels like it's jumping a whole generation ahead. Especially when it tackles one of the biggest headaches with AI right now, its memory.
You've been there, right? You're in a great flow with an AI, you ask it to recall something you mentioned just a few minutes ago, and it's gone. Blank slate, it's like the conversation never happened. Well, that whole frustrating experience, that's exactly what Gemini 1.5 is designed to completely demolish.
And this right here, this shows you the sheer scale of what we're talking about. Your typical AI today, it can remember maybe a few pages of a book at a time. Gemini 1.5, it's processing the equivalent of an entire library, all at once. We're not even playing the same sport anymore. This is a whole different league.
Okay, so let's get into the nuts and bolts. The secret sauce here is something called the context window. You can just think of it as the AI's short-term or, well, working memory. And to show off just how massive this new memory is, the researchers came up with this brilliant test they called the needle-in-a-haystack challenge.
Okay, get ready for this, because this is the part that just blew my mind. They fed the AI the entire book Les Miserables. I'm talking all 1,382 pages. Then they gave it this simple little hand-drawn sketch of one scene from the book. And they just asked it, hey, what's this from? No hints, no character names, nothing, just a drawing.
And it nailed it. Out of what, almost 750,000 words, Gemini 1.5 found the exact scene, the one where Jean Valjean gets the silver candlesticks. I mean, talk about an incredible feat of memory. That's not just finding a needle in a haystack, that's finding a specific piece of hay in a haystack the size of a barn.
So you're probably asking, how is that even possible? Well, the magic is all in this one number, 1 million. Gemini 1.5 has a 1 million token context window. That's the technical breakthrough, the thing that makes that whole library-sized memory a reality. So, what the heck is a token anyway?
Let's make this super simple. A token is basically a piece of a word. It's how the AI breaks down language into building blocks it can understand. So the phrase, the quick brown fox, that's 5 tokens. A million tokens, then, is about 750,000 words. To put that in perspective, that's like reading The Great Gatsby 7 times, all at once. Okay, but a massive memory is only half the story, right? I mean, it's one thing to remember a lot of stuff. It's another thing entirely to actually use that information to learn and reason on the spot. And that's where Gemini 1.5 gets really powerful. It doesn't just recall facts, it actually learns from them right in the middle of a conversation with you. The technical term for this is in-context learning, and the idea is pretty straightforward. The more examples of a task you show the model, the better it gets at doing that task, instantly. No need for a massive retraining session. And because its memory is so huge, you can feed it a ton of examples. And look at how this plays out in the real world. Check out this planning task. With just one example, Gemini 1.5 Pro is already at 28% accuracy. Not bad. But feed it 400 examples, that accuracy shoots up to 77%. Now look at the competition. GPT-4 Turbo kind of taps out at 38%, and that's with far fewer examples. It's so clear. More context literally makes Gemini smarter, on the fly. All right, so we've established the Pro model is an absolute beast, incredibly powerful. But, not every job needs a sledgehammer. For a lot of everyday tasks, what you really want is speed and efficiency. And that, my friends, is why we also have Gemini 1.5 Flash. And just take a look at these speeds. The research paper shows Gemini 1.5 Flash cranking out over 650 characters a second. That's just blazing fast. It leaves its closest competitors in the dust, which makes it perfect for things that need to happen in real time, like right now. So here's the best way to think about it. Gemini 1.5 Pro? That's your heavy-duty pickup truck. It's built to haul the biggest, most complicated loads you can throw at it. But Gemini 1.5 Flash, that's the nimble little sports car. It's all about speed, agility, and efficiency for those everyday drives. You've got 2 different tools for 2 very different jobs.
Okay, so everything we've talked about so far has been mostly about text. But here's where things take another wild turn. Gemini 1.5 is natively multimodal. That's a fancy way of saying it was built from the very beginning to understand not just words, but also images, audio, and video, all at the same time, seamlessly.
And this leads to another one of those no-way moments from the research. Scientists took on a really cool challenge, an endangered language called Kalamang.
There's hardly any data on it online, so they gave the AI a grammar textbook, just the text, and they gave it some audio recordings of people actually speaking the language. And from just those two things, text and sound, the model figured out how to transcribe the spoken words from scratch.
And the researchers themselves say in the paper, this kind of thing just wasn't possible with older models. It's that built-in ability to connect the dots between different kinds of information, text, audio, you name it, that opens up incredible new possibilities. I mean, think about it. Using AI to help save a language from disappearing forever, that's amazing.
Okay, but with all this incredible power, there's obviously a huge question of responsibility, right? You can't build something this capable without thinking long and hard about safety. So let's shift gears and talk about how Google is tackling this, by building safety in right from the start.
It's not just a one-and-done thing, it's a whole process with multiple layers. First, they have their own internal red teams, basically hackers whose job is to try and break the model and find any weaknesses. Then, they bring in outside experts to look for any blind spots the internal folks might have missed. After that, there are even more formal tests before a special council of experts looks at everything and gives the final yay or nay on releasing it.
And these teams aren't just looking for general problems. They're hunting for very specific threats. Take something like prompt injection. This is where a bad guy could hide a nasty command inside a totally normal-looking email or document. Then, when you ask the AI to, say, summarize that email for you, it gets tricked into running the hidden command, which could be really bad. That's exactly the kind of clever attack this whole safety process is designed to stop in its tracks.
Okay, so we've talked about the insane memory, the on-the-fly learning, the fact that it can see and hear, and all the safety checks. But let's bring this all home. What does any of this mean for you? For your daily life, for your work? Let's connect the dots.
Well, the first and most obvious answer is a huge boost in productivity. There was a study where they took a bunch of professionals and had them do complex tasks from their actual jobs. First, they did it the old-fashioned way, and then they did it again, but this time with Gemini 1.5 Pro as their assistant. And the results? Honestly, they're kind of staggering. Programmers figured they saved about 75% of their time. Photographers, 73%. And when you average it out across everybody they asked, the time saved was over 56%. I mean, that's not just a little bit better, that's a complete game changer for how people can get their work done.
And this quote really says it all. Just picture it. You could dump an entire mountain of research onto this thing, or a whole library of code, or hours and hours of video, and it just gets it. Instantly. It becomes an expert assistant for whatever you're working on. It's not just a tool anymore, it's a real collaborator.
So let's leave it with this thought. When you have an AI that can see, hear, and remember pretty much anything you throw at it, when those old barriers of memory and context just disappear, what's left? The only real limit is our own imagination. So the question isn't just, what can this AI do anymore? The real question is, what are you going to create with it?